Yo, guess everybody, we are back with some more Kagurabachi content. And I apologize for my lack of review with the past 2 chapters. The boys been busy with other projects. I just uploaded the Kagurabachi video probably before you get this review. So I apologize, I've been very busy. I'm gonna try to keep you guys fed, I promise. So when we last left off of Kagurabachi, we have Chihiro acknowledging that all of this weight and pressure that is on him is not just on him solely, but he has the ability to distribute it amongst the people that he has made friends with. And he sort of learned this with Hakuri, but more so he was fighting for Hakuri's sake rather than himself. With this whole Samura debacle, Chihiro is now placing this entire burden and using the people around him to shoulder it. We have this cool Akira slide that one of the Masumi members does, where Chihiro flips over the bike and a sword appears out of the bike for Chihiro to grab. Very cool shot. I like the action in that chapter. And I said in my last Kagurabachi video that I was not really feeling this arc as much, just because we're getting introduced to so many new characters. It's kind of hard for me to get invested in them already. But this chapter made Kaguri one of my favorite villains in Kagurabachi so far. Hokazono has this natural talent for making these characters so quirky, but not irritating or grating. Kaguri could easily be a Sojo knockoff, but he is more interested in the swordsmanship aspect rather than the power that the blades themselves wield. Throughout this entire chapter, Kaguri isn't disinterested in Chihiro because Chihiro is weak. He's disinterested because Chihiro has no sword techniques. We actually get the reveal in this chapter that Chihiro is entirely self-taught for the most part. Shiba did not teach him anything related to swordplay. In actually the English translation that Viz gave us, Shiba says, I don't know how to use a sword whatsoever, which is interesting when it comes to the Kamunabi. What is their standard of training people? Is it just strictly close quarters combat? Which I would assume Chihiro knows how to do from Shiba. I mean, it's basically his uncle. So I'm assuming Chihiro has hands of some sort, but no sword skills that were taught to him by a master or no defined style. It's very interesting to me. And Sojo fans, I got bad news for y'all. Y'all got washed by a nigga that had like 3 years of blade experience that was entirely self-taught. And Sojo was after this shit for years. So I don't know, some agenda bachi might be on the horizon, my good brother. So throughout this chapter, Chihiro is doing some self-reflection, and he realizes that where we are currently, in his point of view, is that they are at the point they're at because of his own weaknesses, and that he needs to be the samurai that Hakuri wants him to be. I swear to God, Hokazono keeps the Fujoshis fed, because this was very homosexual coded, which is cool. Hey, hey, that'd probably be a first for Shonen Jump, would it? Has there ever been a gay protagonist in Shonen Jump? I have no idea. Good for them. But Chihiro now needs to go down to the basics and improve his basic sword play so that he can level Enten up to the level of the Enchanted Blade wielders, because the blade wielders were already masters in their own distinct practices before they got the blades, i.e. we got this with Samura and the EI White Purity style. So the fact that Enten is a baby is actually not Enten's power itself. It's actually kind of a mixture of both. Enten is still strong, but it's strong because Chihiro grew up alongside with. But then you go to Samura and you see how big Owl is, and then you see just how fast he cleared out that temple as soon as he got hands on Tobimune. So it makes sense. Now ultimately how Enten will evolve, we don't know. There's a theory that it will turn into the dragons, similar to how Cloud Gouger was a dragon, but I'm not entirely sure. As the size of the goldfish goes, it could probably be like the size of a sunfish or something. I have no idea. But I'm very curious to see how Enten will evolve, because we've already seen Enten do a little bit of evolution with Kuro's Shred and with Chihiro using it as a reconnaissance tool. So what other abilities do you guys think that Enten will get? I'm very curious. Let me know down in the comments below. So as Chihiro is going through this fight with Kaguri is getting frustrated. He's getting mad at Chihiro. He's trash. He thinks that he's garbage. And he throws him aside. He's trying to get after Samura's daughter. And Chihiro, when he's doing his reflection, and he thinks, okay, I need to get down to basics. Trial by fire. This is the fastest way that I will figure out how to learn. And Kaguri is actually racing off in the distance, and he doesn't think that he'll get there fast enough, and then he calms down and he remembers all the information he has absorbed to this point. And we have this beautiful shot of Chihiro using the EI sword style that Uraha and Samura both use, and I'm pretty sure Kaguri as well. Yes, the old Goku technique, the old I saw you do it, so now I know how to do it. I like it. But I do want Chihiro to use some of his own technique, because he did this before with Centipede. Obviously the shockwave that Kiori used when once the Shinuchi possessed him. But I want to see some other stuff that Enten can do on its own. And actually, in the midst of Kaguri and Chihiro's battle, Kaguri thinks about when Yuta actually tried to get him to teach Hirohiko about swordplay and improve his own sword prowess, and Hirohiko actually said something very similar to Chihiro, and Hirohiko just says, I'll learn it as I go along, I don't really need a teacher, this shit's stupid anyway. Which it makes sense because Kaguri said beforehand that he thinks that Yuta spoils Hirohiko, and it frustrates him. He thinks that the sword arts are being disrespected, and so when he actually sees that Chihiro took what he said to heart and actually wants to improve and level up his own skills in his own fight, he does his best Dreamy Bull impression, which I understand. He has sex, like thrills and all this on his mind, but he's like the thrill of swordsmanship, and it overloads his brains. He just goes, I'm about to blow up. And funny enough, actually, when I read this chapter for the first time, I thought that Kaguri actually got hit by the car, but no, he was actually just like, he's excited. He's gonna have a good time now. None of the people in Kagurabachi are normal. Every single one of them has something completely wrong with them. Maybe except Shiba, but Shiba's also like a war criminal and has tortured and killed tons of people, so I'm pretty sure like Tafku is the most normal person in Kagurabachi, or maybe Azami, I don't know. Dude, the poor Hishaku girl who just got a fucking car just dropped on her, and Kaguri just doesn't care. I'm very curious to see what she'll do. Again, it's most likely some sort of blood sorcery, so I'm hoping Hokazono can make it interesting, but some growth from Chihiro here, man. I love it. Back to basics. I'm about it. I love a little training arc, and it doesn't feel like a training arc. It doesn't feel like we've had a dramatic slowdown. It feels like the series is still keeping up its consistent momentum, but Chihiro going, okay, if I need to be able to actually face off against Samura and actually convince him to stop or kill him and protect these other blade wielders, I need to level myself up. It's impractical to do what I've been doing without actually getting to their level. It makes sense. So we're doing a training arc without the training arc, if that makes sense. I like it. Trial by fire, quickest way to learn. As far as when we'll see Hakuri again, I'm anticipating maybe the next 7 chapters or so, or maybe after Samura's daughter is fully protected under the Kamunabis. I'm assuming it's going to be about 6 to 7-ish chapters, or just around whenever Samura's daughter is fully protected by the Kamunabi and Amasumi. But I do want Hakuri back in action. I want Hakuri actually to get some self-defense techniques. I know that he has Iso in his pocket now, and he still needs to master that, but I'm hoping that he's not, physically weak anymore. Obviously, he used to get bullied by Soya, and Soya's a fucking monster. Soya's like fucking huge, but we never really saw Hakuri have like hand-to-hand or like specialty with weapons or anything like that. He was always treated as the weakest member of the family because they primarily deal with sorcery because they are the toe. I want to see Hakuri level up, man. I'm rooting for him. As far as the next target of who they're gonna go for, I have no idea. After they get Samura's daughter, I would assume it would be either the young girl or the sushi guy. The sushi guy they made reference to, I think 1 or 2 chapters ago when Kaguri was first introduced. Because I think Azami made some mention of him like not leaving his restaurant under any circumstances. But yeah, kind of a short chapter review. I apologize if I sound a little unenthusiastic. I'm a little under the weather at this current moment. But yeah, I'm liking this chapter. I like this chapter a lot more than the recent ones. Not that the other ones were bad or anything like that. They just didn't really pique my interest like that. But this one gives some more insight into Kaguri. I find him absolutely hilarious. He's just obsessed with swordplay, and he just thinks it's just the coolest thing ever. He doesn't even see Chihiro as an enemy at this moment, but he just wants to teach him and for him to share that fever, right? So I like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Daffy, guys. Please make sure you leave a like in the video and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Let me know what you think about this chapter of Kagurabachi. It's been your boy Daffy, guys. Peace.